What is time? Could be Monday, could be Wednesday.
Time.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Time.
Gotta be quicker than that. Maybe Wednesday, but it feels like a Monday. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
We do know it's morning.
Time.
You over there going, time. Time. What is time?
Man.
I don't know.
It's what you make it, man.
Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. Live at 85. All systems go. Man. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, welcome. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, October 11th, 2023.
Yeah, man.
Wednesday, October 11th, 2023. Yes.
Yeah, it's the right day. You got it.
Got it. We're calling it News Wednesday today. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Buddy is heavy into the articles. Even during the intro he's reading, I can see it in his eyes.
You can see it in my face. I got my reading face on.
Lots of interesting stories now. Buddy's reading face is on. So appreciate
Yeah.
everybody joining us this morning. The radio channel, thanks for joining us as well. 630 Club. Let us know how the mix was. You can go to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the listen button, of course, or if you have Amazon Alexa, tell Alexa to play First Sky Omaha Radio. Definitely something we'll be expanding in 2024. Digital channels are on the rise, and we've had one for a minute now, so we're going to try to rise ours up too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah. How you doing this morning, man?
A little tired. Still dealing with my truck. It's taking up a lot of time.
Oh.
Yeah. I had to just go ahead and put it in the shop yesterday.
Like,
man, okay, I just had. Man, getting close to that. Maybe try to make some loot on the way, but yeah, man. Just trying to make it through, man. Just a lot of things going on, personal, business wise, private. Yeah.
I feel you, man. I feel you. It's a constant battle to get to peace.
Man, balance. And, trying to find that work-life balance as always.
I feel that.
Yeah. But I'm all right. Definitely glad to be here. Yeah, I'm kind of looking at Mary Sanchez. Definitely glad to see everybody in here this morning. Facebook and YouTube working. So top of the morning, let us know how you're going. How you feeling on this here hump day?
Yep. Kimber Snipes.
Yeah, how you doing, Paul? Kind of look like sinuses tearing your face up, man.
Yep. Got that fall, whatever's going on with the allergies again. So I'm gonna have to find a stronger allergy pill. It looks like it's the one I'm taking ain't working. I'm becoming immune.
Yeah, man. Yeah. 'Tis the season.
Yeah. But I'm doing all right. Same thing, man. Just work-life balance, trying to figure out how to get to the next level with things and so on and so forth. Got some good prospects, good things coming up. So just working on that, and that's about it, man. Just trying to simplify the life and get it to the point where I can do a little bit more cloud hopping and family hanging. So, like I said, aren't we all? Let's just.
Yeah, man. Speaking of that, Mama God made it back to Omaha the other day. So yeah. That time has come to an end. Definitely enjoyed that. Yeah, especially the treats. Yeah, Mama God spent a lot of time in the kitchen.
Man, that's what I'm talking about. So people were like, "Why'd you move? Why'd you move to Omaha?" Well, mom is in town, so
Hmm.
you know how it
Hmm.
goes.
That part. That part.
Thanks for everybody getting up early. I see Kimber Snipes up early this morning. Good
Hey.
morning, y'all. How was the event last night? I wasn't able to make it, but she was over at the Benson Theater with the speaker series. I saw a couple
Yeah,
people
man.
post some photos. Looked like it was a good turnout. Let us know how that went. Miss Erica Fell says, "Good morning, everyone. Appreciate you."
Okay.
Pop
Hey.
says, "Good Wednesday morning, First Sky, and mad love from Las Vegas." Right on, Pops. Appreciate that.
Hey.
I put an article in Friends of First Sky Omaha about our friends over there at Weatherized, Star Trek Rich.
Man.
Margie got into Omaha magazine, so you might want to check that out, Pops. Just to catch up with what Star Trek Rich is up to. We need to have him. He don't like being on the air, but let-
Yeah, he's behind the camera kind of
yeah, but
guy.
he's an interesting dude, man. I miss going over there working with them, and we got some plans to do some stuff in the future, hopefully. So that's what's up, man. Squad in a real way,
Yeah, man. Big shout out to Web Barrios getting down with the get down.
man. Revolutionizing things. Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. Good morning to you. Appreciate you coming on through. Amy H. Dot says, "Good morning, fam. What's happening?" I know
Hey.
I'm supposed to be catching up with you here pretty soon, so I'm gonna get to it as soon as my schedule allows and yours
Man.
and lines up with yours. I know you're busy too. Mayor Sanchez says, "I know you're waiting for Daddy. It won't be long, shorty. Riding live on 85, slow, taking it easy. Be patient."
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's I want to say Ti and oh man, Jazzy Faye.
Okay.
I think that's Jazzy
There you
Faye on the
go.
hook.
How did he win? Mayor Sanchez? Did he win the trivia? Live on 85. We love that. Mark Manor gives us a good morning. Good morning to you. Appreciate it, man. Out in them streets, seeing all them shows. Mark Manor be keeping up with the music world in a big way. And definitely check out. We put his new blog and stuff in the Friends of First Sky Omaha too. So check it out for music reviews and such. Well, maybe we
Yeah,
should have you on to talk about that, man. We gotta help our audience build our record collection for one thing. So let's talk.
man. Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Mark, did you hear that new Tizo Touchdown album? That's what I've been on lately.
Okay.
I don't know if y'all. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to hear your opinion on that. Mama God says, "Morning, First Sky fam, back in the O. That's what's up. Just
Hey,
talking about you,
yeah,
and I'm so glad that you're back because we're gonna see you over there at the content creators camp now for the last couple
yeah, yeah.
classes.
Just in time for the tail end of it.
Tail in. Judy Printer gives us a good morning. Good morning to you.
Hey,
Pop says, "All right, they are great people. I'll check it out." Yeah, man,
okay.
that's what's up. Medicine Song in the house. What's up? She says, "Sunrise on Sunrise Kings on. Thanks for you and all you do. Free Ernest Jackson. Appreciate it."
Yes, yes,
She be on that, man, on it in a real way, keeping it on everybody's mind what's going on, and don't forget about the event that she got coming up as well. Ernest Jackson's Born Day celebration, October 22nd, is happening at Malcolm X Foundation. If you don't know where the Malcolm X Foundation is, what's wrong with you?
man. What's wrong
Number
with you?
one, number two, it's at 3448 Evans Street in Omaha. Check it out. 1 to 5. There's gonna be music, food, art, spoken word, community engagement, all the good stuff. We'll keep on talking about this and posting that in Friends of First Sky Omaha. But definitely check out. Definitely celebrate Ernest Jackson's Born Day, and
Man,
also, man, get with her because she is going. She can tell you how you can bless this brother with some gifts and things like that. Just keep his spirits up while he's in there, and hopefully keep the fight up about trying to get him out, trying to free him
man,
in a
man.
big way. Mark Manderson, Anytime. What
Okay.
was that album?
The album is called "How Do You Sleep at Night."
Tizo Touchdown is dope.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
cousin, from California, where my musical him and I are kind of musical twins almost. This
Mm,
dude sent me something, and it's funny because he sent me something from a band called Knower, and I've been on this band called Knower for a minute, but I hadn't heard this particular track that he sent me. He sent it to me, and I was like, man, that sounds like me and you playing for real. And I kind of been on that tip and trying to dig into these guys, and these guys are super mysterious. This
mm.
band Knower, I can't find out what the bass player's name is. I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like they got some that I don't understand their strategy, but it's intriguing because for guys like us that go digging for the new funk,
They're
We
looking
gotta go
for it.
find it, right? Like, how do you hide from social media? That's a strategy. We got to check it
It is though. It is in this day and age. You know, sometimes it helps to go the opposite way.
out. There you go. Pop says, also, you guys may not remember, but I named him Star Trek Rich, and it went viral.
Hey,
Right on, Pops. Me, me,
I didn't forget
me
about
and
that.
Pops got the nickname Superpower.
Man, yeah,
It be
yeah.
sticking.
I've witnessed you give out a lot of names over the years. Baby boy bowling.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, somebody named him that, but we had to get that. We had to stick that on him for real. That was
Oh yeah, oh
perfect.
yeah, oh yeah.
Um,
Became a thing, man.
Mir Sanchez says Youngbloods 85.
Ah, okay, okay, okay,
Got it.
okay. Speaking of that, yeah, we live at 85 right now.
Live at 85. I didn't think I didn't think that was going on over here too, but it is. It just happens to be. I'm live at 85 over here too.
See,
Yeah. Yeah,
hey,
that's what's up. We're trying to dial in our sound here, man. We're trying to make it, that sound in these types of situations is so important. If you don't have your sound right, then it's hard. It's hard to pay attention. It gets in the way. It's distracting. Anyway, Mama Guy says Paul hubby and I stopped by Mika Mexican restaurant in Blackstone District yesterday. You been there? Really good. Buy one get one free taco Tuesday on Taco Tuesday. I have not been there. I didn't know there was a Mexican. Oh, you talking about
Mula.
Mula? I know you. I know you talking about. Yeah, I've been there. I've been there. Mula's pretty good. Mula's pretty good. Their tacos are seriously expensive for tacos, but they're pretty delicious, and they got a wide variety of tequilas over there at Mula. And
Okay.
they also really support the DJs. Man, they always having parties outdoors, and
Yeah.
they do like the Cinco de Mayo thing, and they be having 1,000 people out in the back, and always giving the DJs love. So I get down with Mula. Mula is owned by a Mexican brother as well. All the recipes came from his his abuela. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So and they had to Americanize it up a little bit in order for it to be popular in Blackstone, but they still real. They do the carne asada right and all that good stuff. So
There you go.
yeah, shout out to
Yeah.
Mula.
Mama God actually called me about that yesterday, or mentioned it while we were talking on the phone. And yeah, I guess you're the taco connoisseur now.
So I appreciate that. I appreciate all of you for Sky Omaha connoisseurs, especially the ones
Yeah,
who say
yeah.
hello and give us a good morning. We have a lot of interesting news to talk about today. This kind of piquing our interest about stuff that's going on, and all over the place too, man. And of course, when we had our show Monday, we talked a little bit about like the major events that are going on in the world today. With the war in Israel right now and so on and so forth. I heard some very interesting stuff on Market Monday. We watch Earn Your Leisure
Hmm.
podcast as well. I highly recommend you guys check that out if you're talking about following the money. And they were just talking about how the reason why it affects us in the form of gas prices. I don't know if you guys noticed, but gas prices are getting up and out of control. And a
Yeah.
lot of that has to do with the fact that they're not doing a whole bunch of transporting of oil right now while things are going on in Israel, in places like that. If war torn places where bombs are getting dropped, they're not doing a whole lot of oil transport. So the price of oil is going up, price of gas is going up, and it just kind of goes. It just reminds me about like how globalized everything is, man. Like
Oh yeah.
we can't dismiss what's going on in all the rest of the world, and not just because we shouldn't be dismissing it, but also because it affects us directly in a whole bunch of ways all the time, man. And I also realize I got a lot of friends of mine that are really worried about their families back there right now too. So really, really hate that the violence is happening and all that stuff that's going on, man. It's unfortunate that we're still in a world where this stuff is happening. I just can't. It just always just trips me out to think like we live in a world where people think that war is the answer. Didn't
Man.
Marvin Gaye tell you it was not the answer back in the day already? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But I mean, you think about American history, it's more wars than not. There's a lot more wars than periods of peace, if you will. So yeah, very interesting to see what's going on, not just in Israel and Hamas, but also Ukraine.
Mm.
That war is still raging on as well, and America is still sending out billions and billions of dollars
Well,
to
they're
aid
trying.
that. So yeah, man, right. But we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that, especially as election season is around the corner. Of course, you got to know that there's going to be a hot topic in a lot of these campaigns. So we'll be looking out for that. Also, kind of in the midst of that as well, something that I'm wondering, it doesn't seem like I'm not seeing a lot of stories. It doesn't seem like it has really hit Omaha yet. But I do think it's a matter of time as far as the wave of immigrants and again, 70,000 or so immigrants expected to come to Atlanta. I do know that Omaha is also an immigration hub. A lot of migrants and people, refugees, are sent by the federal government to Omaha specifically to kind of restart life and get a piece of the American pie, if you will. And yeah, again, haven't heard many stories about that coming to Omaha, but I wonder again if it's a matter of time, something to look out for.
That's right. Let's look out for it after we come back from the intro. We really appreciate everybody that's joining us this morning. Once again, a fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the
All
morning,
the Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, thanks for joining us. Let's start the show.
hey.
What up? What up? What up? Good morning. Good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
And a fresh edition today. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday. Let us know how your hump day is going, how your week is happening. Yeah. Love to know about how your week is going on so far, and just you in general. All of our chat chimers, ghost listeners who feel like chiming up, let us know. Let us know how you how your week is going. In the meantime, you're here with me, Paul B, Taco Connoisseur. You're with Buddi3 Da Gawd. That's right, man.
Hey.
And we're here with you today. We really appreciate it. Mark Manner's about to start a riot over here talking about he saw gas for $2.99, and then they said it was going to come down more.
Where?
Yeah, so we're gonna be in line over there trying to get some $2.99 gas. Mayor
Let me guess, that was Council Bluffs.
Oh, okay, yeah, must be. Mayor Sanchez says you better start saving now for gas prices next year.
Man,
that's real. Ms. Eric Feld says they've been doing this war since Israel was founded in 1948. It's been ongoing, man. So it seems like it's another level right now, though. Seems like.
Yeah.
Rose Reviews is reminding you, please hit the like button if you're over there on YouTube. Also, if you're on Facebook, do us a favor and share the show on your page so we can get as many people in checking it out as possible. Share the show and tell a friend. So anybody who you think can benefit from what it is that we're doing over here or can add to it and can join the conversation, have them do that. We're still organically building our audience, and it's all because of word of mouth. So we appreciate you guys.
Man.
Yep. Wanda Lewis,
all the ghost listeners, everybody.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Ghost listeners, especially the army of ghost listeners, I think is the reason why is a major reason why where our people are coming in more because they go around talking about it. Even if they're not on chiming in, they go around talking about the show a lot, which I think is which I'm finding is pretty interesting. Everywhere I go now, I'm hearing people say that. So yeah, I really appreciate the ghost listeners, man. They're like the army of recruiters almost. So that's what's up.
Thank you.
Wanda Lewis says, follow the federal dollars on immigration hosting and receiving. Follow the money. Yeah, I always wondered that. Why in a red state are we a place where refugees get sent by the government? It's interesting because I know I feel like this state fights that. So how is it how is it that it's just laid on us that way, that it just happens?
I guess it depends on what country these immigrants are coming from.
It's true, but we think about this though. We got one of the highest populations of Sudanese people in the country. So it was that just this red state opening its arms up, or was it they following? Maybe we got to follow the money, like Wanda Lewis said, or maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure. So
Yeah,
yeah, but that's a good question. It's a good question. What kind of federal dollars are is the state receiving? What type of aid comes to the state for this? What is the deal?
yeah. Things that make you go, like Arsenio
Yeah,
Hall used
definitely.
to do.
Yeah, I mean, I used to watch that whole situation firsthand as a Mama God who used to work at Wells Fargo. She was like kind of tasked to be their banker. Like a lot of the immigrant communities, like a lot of the Korean population that came in, she would help them with their banking, and they would come in with wads of money and try to understand and have to navigate the banking system.
Wow.
But it's very interesting. Kind of like I went to a few like they had immigration celebrations. They used to have them at Benson High,
Mhm.
where a lot of the families would come in, they would get resources, get connected to organizations, things like that. And I went to a few with my mom as she was there representing the bank, and it was just interesting to see how they're brought in. These organizations or these communities are brought in and given all these resources. Um, yeah, it's just very interesting
Mhm.
how that's set up.
Yeah, we would definitely. This is something that I would definitely love to talk more about, and so on and so forth. We need to have other people on and give us some insights on what's going on there. And we've been wanting to do that for a while anyway. If we're talking about North and South Omaha, then we have to realize that we got neighbors here. That's a whole population of people that with other kinds of needs and things that we need to pay
Hmm.
attention to as well. So we'll definitely look into that. We did join the African Chamber, so I'm hoping that'll give us a little more of a plug in into the community as well. Back to the chat real quick. Kimmer says the speakers Harry was phenomenal. Afterwards, I took Whitney, Amy, Shamika, and Lacey Lamar to the motorcycle club. Say what? You should
Okay.
have called me for that. I would have had to bring the camera out for that. So, seeing them at the motorcycle club. That's what's up. So your speaker series went well yesterday at Benson Theater, and hopefully you got two more, is what I heard. So we'll definitely make sure that we get the word out on that. And I'm glad that the squad sounds like the squad went out last night. What?
Man, yeah, some powerful ladies
Yes,
hitting the
that's
streets.
the squad.
But yeah, let us know what was the. She says one more. Okay. So yeah, let us know when that's coming up, and what was the topic of the past one? I think you mentioned it a couple times, but let us know that, and what was your takeaway?
Absolutely. Kimber Snipes also says the book by Angela Davis said that they were more armed INS agents than FBI agents. Yeah, I believe it. I
Hmm.
believe it. We got people. We got governors here that send agents over to the border all the time. So I'm sure that to
Man,
back them up.
even though Nebraska is one of the most landlocked states in the country.
Mama God says Elder came to the country with Social Security benefits, even though they never worked a day in the U.S. You talking about
Yep.
immigrants?
Yep.
Yeah. Kimber Snipe says, and then we will have our holiday party. So still talking about the speaker series here. They got one more speaker series event, and then they will have their holiday party where we will announce the mini grant winners in December. That's what's up.
Okay.
Appreciate that. Whole series is around housing development. What a huge topic for us over here. That's something we're
Man.
constantly talking about. So that's good that there's more discussion and stuff happening. I'd love to hear the outcome of your speaker series and who kind of took to it and came to it and decided they needed to act to do something about it. I'd love to hear what was coming of it.
Yeah. Speaking of immigrants and housing, I did come across an article. I didn't really look into it too much, but it does look like that. I don't know if you're familiar with that elevator, the grain elevator, right off of I
Benton
twenty
Street.
nine. I want to say you said, yeah, Vinton Street. Yeah, you kind of going South Omaha. Apparently, they're gonna be turning that into apartment complex.
That's what I heard, and it's going to be market rate. So 1,100-1,200 bucks for a one bedroom, 2,000 for a two type of stuff.
Man, yep, Vinton. Okay, okay. So I'm not the only one hearing about this. Yeah, yeah. Again, more of the same, man. Very, very interesting. Still not many. Again, that whole middle missing housing situation. Not many, single family homes, townhomes. Not much opportunity for ownership. It's very hard to own an apartment building or just an apartment.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's a pretty scary situation when you think about like what are you gonna do next? What if something happens in the place that you're at, or the rent goes up, or whatever? You got to try to figure something else out. Where do you go? What do you do nowadays? You know what I mean? They got all
Hmm.
this building and stuff going on, but but and then, but what's none of it seems affordable to a lot of people. I mean, there's some people can, but not a lot. You know, it's kind of messed up in a big way. Kimmer says last night we also discussed alternatives for housing such as missing middle and accessory dwelling units. There you
Okay.
go. Wanda Lewis says I heard there was a full house yesterday at Heart Ministries for the land bank meeting. That's what's up.
Okay. Okay. Also talking about purchasing land and home ownership and things like that. So okay. Nice to see some folks in the community pushing towards those efforts. Again, let's continue the conversation, continue looking at that. Um I will say I am looking at some other programs. There's a program called Oasis that's in Chicago that a few brothers of the Nation of Islam are doing, and basically the program takes young men from the community, puts them in a development project, so they learn skills, they learn trades in building up and redeveloping units in the community, and then at the end of the program, again, I'm getting all this from a documentary that I saw at the Revolt Summit about this program, again, called Oasis in Chicago. And at the end of at the end of the program, the young men get ownership of the property. It is very, very revolutionary, and just kind of was blowing my mind. Like, man, it'd be nice to see something like that happen in Omaha. Again, I don't know what it would take, but yeah, just want to throw that out there. Anybody interested in maybe looking into that?
So it sounds like some solutions journalism, which we just talked about.
Hey, yeah, there you go. There you go. There you go.
Kimmer Snipes says, or actually, Miss Erica Fell says, last night was an important one. Disappointing that I couldn't get the information to attend. I'm a huge fan of middle housing. There you go. Marianne Williams gives us a good morning. She says, on the flip side, many immigrants pay employment taxes and Social Security and never see the benefits because of citizenship status, billions of dollars. Wanda
Hmm.
Lewis said, follow the money on that. One thing that I will say about that, paying taxes, employment taxes, everything else. What I have been learning from talking to people at the DED and so on is that the state is always looking for people who can come in and pay employment taxes, businesses that are going to pay taxes. States revenue comes from taxes. So the more people that are paying taxes, the more businesses that are paying taxes, the better for the state. So
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting. Like maybe that's why some things you think would not be happening here are happening because of the money. Like Wanda Lewis said, follow the money. So that's pretty interesting. Speaking of the DED, I did speak to someone over there. We this is not confirmed yet, but I'll give you a little breaking news. We might have somebody from the DED coming on Friday, coming on the show, coming up. So not confirmed yet. May not happen. We're working on it now, but that's the talk for the moment. So we'll see.
Yeah. Get your
We'll see
questions
about that.
ready.
And for those of you, yeah, get your questions ready. For those of you who don't remember, this is we're talking about the bill 1024 and 531 that Senators Terrell McKinney and Justin Wayne put together in order to bring those millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars into North and South Omaha. And this is the end of the. It's going to be distributed before the end of the year. So this is coming up fast. People that signed up that had businesses they applied for through the Olson project that we had been talking about months ago are now part of what's going on here with the DED. They're the next step in disseminating the money. They'll make their recommendations. The governor will have to sign off on that, and then people will start receiving funds. So
Mm.
just a quick recap of that. But those of you that have been following us for a while, I'm sure that you have even deeper questions. And like I said, we'll try to get somebody here on Friday to be able to talk about that.
Yeah, Kimmer already hitting us with one. She says, "Question: Why did Tony Goins really get fired?"
That's a good question. That's a really good question. As a matter of fact, I did see some. There were some things I saw that I found pretty interesting. As a matter of fact, there was this was something that was out of Nebraska Examiner a while back that we actually
Mm-hmm.
talked about. We actually talked about and kind of skipped over this point. Governor Jim Pillen announced Blitz as his choice to lead the Department of Economic Development, which is 130 full-time positions, and has quickly grown with the new grants and programs funded in part through federal pandemic dollars. According to the department spokesperson, the DED's base budget this fiscal year is 881 million, up from about 58 million and 68 full-time positions 5 years ago. Blitz, who hails from Pillen's hometown, replaces Tony Goins, who resigned April 5th from his $215,000 a year job amid conflict of interest questions. And I remember when we talked about Brother Goins stepping down, we thought this it felt real abrupt. Like
Mm-hmm.
there was a conflict of interest question that came up, and right away he was like, "I'm out. I'm stepping back." And it always just felt weird. But what hit me from this thing that I didn't really read the first time that we talked about this was how much their fiscal year budget raised up.
Jumped up.
They had 68 employees, now they got 130, and they went from 58 million to 881 million dollars. I mean, like everybody got a raise over there. Um, and so we're just looking at the data here, but what does that mean for the organization? What does that mean? How are they using those resources? This is a state-run organization, and they pretty much dole out money all the time from programs. So,
Mm-hmm.
where what how does what all does that these are questions that we can try to come up with and talk to people representatives from the DED about when they come. Just to put it out there, because I can see even in the chat, people have other questions about stuff about what happened over there and what's happening now. And of course, we have these questions because they're the next step in the North Omaha getting those millions of dollars. They're the next
Mm-hmm.
step.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones making decisions. Like I said, everything that gets signed off by the governor is the last step. But this is an important step. It's kind of out of the senator's hands now. It's that's the way the government is set up, so that they can have checks and balances. It's out of
Yep.
the senators can't control that money. It's now in the hands of the DED. So interesting stuff. Jumping back into the chat real quick. Let's see. How far back? Man, you guys be
Yeah,
you guys yeah,
that Miss Erica felt and Kimmer kind of going back and forth. Let me help you out though. I do want to jump into T Rand's comment,
please.
talking about housing, saying it's too expensive to own anything. I remember when much of the downtown office space was turned into condos, and a few people were buying them, turned them back into apartments, which kind of makes you think of the Midtown situation. Kind of by where they have Jazz on the Green.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering, have those apartments ever like do a lot of people live? Have they ever been filled? Have those apartments ever reached capacity? It doesn't seem like they have.
I don't know. That's a good question, man. I don't know.
And it might be the case for a lot of apartment buildings around the Omaha area.
Yeah. Miss Cheryl Weston is in the chat. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. She says $1,100 for rent is affordable when you earn it. It is affordable when you. Oh, she's asking the question. Is that affordable if you earn less than $15 an hour?
No.
Absolutely not. They want a third of your income. They think that's you need to be making at least 3 times what the rent is. So yeah, $15 an hour is not going to cut it. That's not even minimum wage. They're trying to get to a $15 minimum wage, right? So of
Yeah,
course, you get paid less than that.
I, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I do know Senator McKinney was pushing for that. I think it's on like a delayed schedule. Like by a certain year, we're supposed to reach 15 minimum wage, but by then it's already going to be obsolete and outdated, and going to have to update beyond that. So,
Mm,
um, yeah, I think it is increasing, but not nearly at the rate it needs to.
yeah. Rome's reviews talking about putting the wolf in charge of the hen house. And yep,
Hmm.
interesting. Cheryl Weston is saying the hypocrisy of the Omaha Municipal Land Bank Part 3 coming. She has a YouTube video here about it, and she put the link in the chat. You might want to check that out. I'm anxious to talk to Amy Holmes about how that meeting went, and
Yeah.
who said what on that. This this is another story we've been following this for a while. I remember you did the story over for the Reader about the
Mhm.
land bank a while back. So yeah, Ms. Ergenfeld is saying when I arrived in Omaha in 1995, downtown was full of low income apartments in historic buildings. There were diners and businesses for people. I liked it. Reminded of me of actual cities.
Mm.
Same with me, man. When I came to stay with my great grandfather in the '90s, that's what I remember too. Is like hanging out at people's house downtown in lofts, going to the all night coffee shops, diners in the morning. There was a lot of activity, but it seems like they moved everybody out of those spaces. Also, when I came back in 2010, there were still houses you can buy for $50,000 or $60,000, like in North Omaha, and those quickly quickly went away.
Man.
Miss Erica Phil says it's currently 9.25. Talking about minimum wage.
Yeah, I mean, how do you survive on that?
T. Ren says Goins was in the way. The goal of the to throttle monies the Nebraska power players never wanted North Omaha to experience benefit of chess. Okay. Marion Williams says the third of income really sustainable. Food, transportation, utilities, etc. won't leave much to save for home ownership.
Oh no, yeah, we're just talking about surviving, not saving and thriving. What?
You're right. Wanda Lewis says Cheryl Weston is at all the land bank meetings, hasn't missed one. So she's going to be the resource. She's going to be the trusted source on what's they got going on. She's paying close attention to it. We appreciate that. And then Miss Erica Phil says now it's gentrified with multi-$1,000 housing.
Yeah, man.
It's pretty scary, man. You go around and just talk to the people that you know and ask them how are they doing anything, how are they surviving, especially people who don't have jobs that are paying upwards of 60, 70, $80,000. That's kind of the price range you got to be at around 60 grand in order to be able to live in a place where you got $1,100 rent, $1,200 rent. Who people who don't have those kinds of jobs, what are they doing? First of all, there's a lot of people that I know that are teamed up with somebody, whether or not it's their significant other, their partner, their married partner, or whatever, or just families living together, or families paying rent, staying in the same house together with their parents, even at an older age. I'm seeing, how do you get to a place where you're able to afford rent if you're making under 50 grand?
Man,
You team up with another 25 grand person or several, and then try to make it. Is what I'm seeing when I talk to people, how they got to do things, or they just, it's just like I don't even understand, or they're living in a less desirable, in a place that they feel like they need to get out of
yeah.
because they're still slumlordy joints out here in a big way.
It's like if you find affordable housing, it's not quality, it's not safe, it's not clean. If you find quality, safe housing, it's not affordable. It's just that conundrum. And I do have a family member right now who's kind of in the middle of housing, looking for a spot. And it's interesting. They make too much for some places and not enough for others. I think Amy Holmes called it the cliff effect.
Wow.
That gray area that a lot of people are actually finding themselves in. So, yeah, it's yeah, we can keep talking circles about it, but definitely looking for solutions, man. Like what can people do? What are people doing? Like you said,
Yeah.
is rooming up? Is that the answer?
I mean, that's what I see people doing now, but I don't know. Of course that might not be the answer. It's not the ultimate answer. The ultimate answer is for people to be able to have jobs that pay enough money to pay market rate, but also for the market to kind of balance itself out. I don't know. Everybody's not going to be able to have a job that it will allow you to pay market rate for a place. So how do you circumvent? How do you fix that? How do you work that out for people? That make under a certain amount of money. How do you work that out? I just don't really know. I mean, for me personally, I don't really have any choice but to go try to make more money in order for and then we're not even talking about like thinking about buying a house or anything like that. It's just like it's just like maintaining the rent,
Man, just keeping a roof over the head.
man. Um, Also, Marion Williams is telling us about that minimum wage. I forgot that minimum wage bill did get passed, so it goes up to 15, but not right away. Right now, it's
Yeah,
10.50 an hour, and then it gets raised incrementally to 15. But
yeah. I
so
think it
far
doesn't.
behind.
Right, far behind. I don't think we reached the $15 mark until like 2025.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't make it on 15 right now. So
Right,
what's it gonna be like in 2025?
right.
T. Ren says same with the old Rorick City View on 20th Street, 20th St. Mary, kicked all the poor people out and turned them into condos. Nobody bought them, so turned them back into apartments that take government subsidies. Wow, I think we know some people live in City View.
Yep.
Man, I did not know that was the history. That I thought it was always apartments. That's crazy. Mr. Rockefeller says there's an apartment building on Dodge that was 425 for a nice two-bedroom in historic building. It then sat condemned for over 5 years. Took government money to turn into $2,300 a month apartments. This is the story of Omaha. This is what we see all over the place all the time right now. That's what is available to you. Plenty of housing out here. Plenty of apartments and places with all these great amenities. Plenty of walking distance, midtown style things happening. But
Mm-hmm.
how much does it cost to live there? Wanda Lewis says most recently the city has been tearing down and disrupting homeless camps, throwing tents, extra clothing, and all belongings away. Would like to know if alternative housing has been provided for them.
Probably not, but I've also heard about that. Thank
It's,
you for bringing that up. Thank you.
thank you very much. It's getting worse for sure. Mr. Eric says, where do restaurant, grocery, childcare staff live without Section 8? That's what I'm saying. Everybody doesn't make 50, 60 grand a year. Like, we got these industries. I mean, teachers ain't even, you know what I'm saying? Like, we talk about this stuff all the time. There's nothing in place for your inflation. I was just watching something on Earn Your Leisure last night that was talking about it. Like the from 2019 to now, inflation has gone up somewhere around like somewhere around like 7%. So if you bought something in 2019 for $100, it costs you $107 now.
Mm.
But has your salary raised up at the same rate? Was your salary at the rate that it was supposed to be in 2019 to afford that $100 in the first place? Like nothing aligns.
Yep. And Marianne Williams giving us a clue on how things will be in 2025 when we do finally reach that $15 mark. She says by 2025 we'll need 23 an hour for sure. 23 an hour is the number that would have kept up with inflation currently, which goes along with the math that we did. I don't know if you remember back when we were in Webberize, we did a whole math exercise with Michelle, and we came up to about 23 an hour is minimum wage. Like that's just to survive. That's just to afford market rate.
Craziness. Um, yeah, man, that's something to think about. That's just Tony Johnson says, whatever happened to money abs effort from MCC for people to skill up to better jobs? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I do know that there are still scholarships and things out there for people to go to MCC to get to, especially they're pushing trade real hard out here on the North Omaha campus, especially. I talked to Tim Clark, who was helping with Johnny Rogers Fund. Johnny Rogers gave away just about $1 million in scholarships to people to be able to go to learn a new trade. So you go to MCC, you can get your CDL license, all these other things that you can do to make a lot more money. So I mean, yeah, everybody's got to. I mean, everybody's got to navigate these little programs and all these things, and got to know about how to tap in order to get the benefits to go do something, to learn a new thing and to start a new industry. And then you get to that industry, and then you got gatekeepers in that industry because they have a kind of a system there where you got to also get in with a person who is a professional with it and stuff like that. So it's hard to break into any of this stuff to get to a decently paying job. But what are you doing in the meantime before while you're trying to make all that happen? Where are you living? What are you doing?
Mm-hmm. As Pop saying in the chat, he says it's a form of financial redlining, making housing too high for most minorities.
Man, they gonna find a way. First, they just gonna say no, you can't live here, and then they gonna put a system in place to where you with the redlining system, and now it's continuing on with this financial situation. Like they only want certain people who can make a certain amount of money to live in the place, and it's no accident that now all of a sudden you get your credit checked when you go in to try to go get a place. You know what I'm saying, you got to have all
Mm-hmm.
these checks that you didn't have before in order to be able to qualify for a place. In order to get into certain apartment buildings, your credit score got to be a certain amount. So they're trying to make sure. Kimmer Snipes says it was brought up last night that there are more homes in America than houseless people.
Yep.
I'll leave that there.
Just not adding up.
Sarah Phelps says child care staff that are required to have a bachelor's degree often earn $13 an hour. Let's not even talk about. Let's not even talk about school loan
Man,
that you got to pay back on top of everything with at 13 an hour. Who's
same for
paying
teachers.
Right. Very good comments. I really appreciate you guys jumping in here for real. Um, Tony Johnson says shows why Democrats bragging about jobs not accurate. Everybody bragging about jobs is not accurate as far as I'm concerned. Democrat, Republican, whoever, if anybody's bragging about jobs, um, they can have a jobs report that says there's all these jobs, but what are they paying? What kind of where are the livable wage jobs numbers? Bama Guy said Austin, Texas has several new affordable housing complexes for families that fall into the government poverty requirements. The complex has all the industry standard amenities. So, yeah, is that a solution for everyone though? Like, like even just thinking about how you got to fall into the below the poverty line in order to qualify for something seems just
Man, again, the cliff effect. It's like on one end you make too much for those types of programs, but you don't make enough to just get into housing,
hmm.
even a one bedroom.
Miss Cheryl Weston is talking about the land bank meeting last night. She said land bank meeting last night attended by approximately 25 to 30 people. The land bank ex-director and in-house counsel were in attendance. Heads up, folks, North Omaha is about to be sold off to developers.
Yep. I mean, it's pretty much the sense I got several years ago.
Yeah, I think it
Nothing has
has
changed.
been. Right, I think it has been all this time, as a matter of
Hmm.
fact.
Yeah. Holy Name Housing Corporation and Habitat for Humanity are really the only organizations that are getting land bank properties. And I'm sure, they're looking at now the 75 Norths and the Canopy Souths as well.
Mm. Man,
Yeah. Still looking at the chat.
I am, and I'm just thinking about solutions, man. Like I keep on jumping to that. Like I'm trying to keep the theme in mind. This is season 6, boots to the roots. What are we doing in order to make some kind of difference? What can be done? And I've been kind of at a loss. I guess if you're a developer, I guess it's to appeal to the developers and landowners. Um, but I've talked to a lot of we have people on the squad that manage the projects that see how much it costs to build
Mm-hmm.
and see, what I'm saying, see where the plight of the landowner is going to be at, where they got to be able to, you know market rate is not just because somebody's deciding to set the market that high. It's based on how much it costs to build and then some. So if you got energy and supply demands and stuff like that that's going on, you got to kind of start from there, and then you got to figure out how to make your profit or do whatever. So I mean, there's a lot to it. So many systems in place in order to before you even get to the point where you can even offer housing to anybody. What do you do? Everything has to be a program or a subsidy or you know like you said, the cliff effect where you're not making enough money or you're making too much.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
What do you
That's
do?
good. It's a good suggestion there. Tony Johnson says, bring 75 North on, have them explain and help us understand.
Yeah, people from 75 North. I mean, the company there owns a whole bunch of different places, not just that place on 30th.
Mm-hmm. In different states.
In different states as well. So it's exactly what we're talking about, as far as bigger companies coming in and making apartment complexes and so on. The big thing about 75 North was that they did everything on a sliding scale, and they had a bunch of units that they considered affordable, but it takes the rent, it takes full rent from other people in other units in order to kind of balance that kind of thing out. And we really don't have the whole formula there, but they filled up right away. I pretty much call them every year to see what if they got any open, and they usually only have one open, so they're usually always filled. I've never really talked to anybody that actually lives in there,
Hmm.
or anybody from there that talks about the rates and what happens there. Kimmer Snipes says, and Canopy South, we over there too.
Okay.
So same kind of situation. Appreciate everybody's comments on this. We're already at 750. If you believe in the concept of time, talked a little while about these things and haven't gotten to really one story yet
Yeah.
for things going on. Here's one more thing though I want to say because that homeless population that we talked about a little earlier is very important to keep on our minds as well. Miss Cheryl Weston says homeless people removed from out west with the assistance from Douglas County Sheriff were offered some assistance to new living. Some homeless do not want to live elsewhere. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wanda Lewis says the towers are at full capacity, even with bed bugs and no health or management oversight. Woo!
Yeah.
You know,
Again, a lot of times that's really the only housing people can afford. Again, a lot of times the affordable housing isn't safe, isn't clean, isn't quality, and safe, clean, quality housing isn't affordable.
that's crazy, man. Tony Johnson says problem is we're talking and asking questions, and they are not. We need to stop letting folks be we quiet. Show up to every meeting with microphone and camera.
Man, documenters. Yeah,
Mhm.
got to get documenters back up and going.
Yep. And speaking of which, these are in the plans for First Sky Omaha as well, man. This is the reason why we're always on the hunt to raise funds in order to try to get to the point where we have a crew that can go do some of those things and keep it. It's real funny. I've been seeing some posts on First Sky Omaha's page where people are like, "Man, I'm so sick of watching mainstream news. I wish that there was a black news channel that was doing weather and traffic." And just talking about the news, I just watched that and nothing else. And, and a lot of people was co-signing on that, and I was like, man,
Mm.
man, maybe maybe we should start. Like we know what the plans me and you got. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
like we understand we're on the same page with this. Like it's hard to even watch the mainstream news a lot of times just to get the news that you need. But man, it's really important, especially I feel like when we ever get to that point where we're able to deliver that news like we really want to. Uh, we got a plethora of chat chimers and ghost listeners that we've already kind of been talking to for a while and understand what news they want to hear, what news we think is important, and be able to talk about those things along with the regular, weather and traffic and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the kind of black media we're trying to build out. So we all feeling it. We all on the same page and feeling that for real. Like and solutions as well. Solutions journalism is so important, man. You being in Atlanta and can see things that are going on there that you can suggest that we try here. If we can get that to the right people, the right boots to the roots, the right ears to hear it, then maybe some change can start happening in that way. But man, it seems like they got it locked sometimes.
Oh yeah, I mean, and yeah, it is interesting. It is interesting to see those conversations, but hopefully we can make some change and find some solutions. That's the issue.
Big time. Let's take a quick break, man. Smell the coffee beans a little
Yeah.
bit. Come back and talk about a few other things that are pretty interesting stories today that we're kind of talking about. So we'll come back in a minute. And yeah, First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All be Buddi3 Da Gawd. All of you chat chimers going off today in the chat. Love it, love it. Appreciate it very much. We'll be right back, y'all. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, the taco connoisseur, Buddi3 Da Gawd.
Hey.
All of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, appreciate you joining us on this Wednesday, the 11th, 2022. Don't forget, this is the day I put out the newsletter for everybody that is signed up to the Content Creators Camp, We only got a few more classes left, man. This is
Man,
week 10 out of a
man.
12-week course. Gonna be at Elevator Spaces again next week, and I will be your instructor this coming up Saturday. So can't wait to see everybody who's joined. If you have not joined yet, there's a QR code right there. You can hit, or you can go to Friends of First Sky Omaha. We're pinned at the top there. You can hit that link. I'll put the link in the chat as well. And yeah, or sign up or not sign up, but show up. Come on through on week 10. 10 o'clock will be at Elevator Spaces, 1402 Jones Street.
Yep.
And you've been there before. And bring a friend, bring a friend. We only got a few more classes, so definitely, I would really appreciate everybody who has been a part of this before to come through. And there's been a couple people that came through the first 3 or 4 classes and then kind of stopped. So I'm definitely gonna reach out to them, see what's up, and see if they want to at least come back for the last few classes with us and check it out. Miss Erica Fell says, be sure to check your spam. So I
Yeah.
guess I guess people, some of our stuff is going over there. Marlon Harrison in the chat, he says, what's the name of the track you guys are playing during the break? Oh, that was called I Found You. This is a track that I worked on. Appreciate it, man.
Man.
Very much.
Oh, me being modest. It's okay.
Yeah, man, we started off trying to put together a First Sky Omaha soundtrack
Man.
that we could release each year. We'll get to our plans one day, man. We will keep on plugging.
Work
T
life
Riz
balance.
said work life balance, man, for real. You been cooking up, by the way, lately?
Yeah, little, might have some new beats for the people.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to hear. I'm trying to blow the dust off of this keyboard over here in a minute too.
Man.
It happened. Uh, yeah. Moving right along. You guys are very deep into these conversations about these things, and I appreciate it very much. 7:56 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, let's at least go down the list of some of the things that we wanted to get to today, and then possibly jump into a story or however you feeling like doing it, buddy. Because I know we want to get to it.
Yeah, we got a few. See what we can get into. I do actually want to dive into an article, and rather than teeing up. This is kind of along the lines of what we're talking about as far as solutions and housing and workforce development and childcare, kind of all coming to a head in this article out of KMTV. Channel 3, as far as Nebraska faces a child care crisis, is the headline. It says these companies are trying to ease the pain for working parents. Again, what is going on with our child care situation in the state of Nebraska, and how it is impacting the workforce development and people finding jobs? Let's when we talk about people finding housing and things like that, let's keep in mind that a lot of these are families. A lot of these are people with children trying to find housing and things like that. So this story is very interesting in seeing what some companies are doing to find solutions in the midst of all of this. The pandemic pummeled childcare providers in Nebraska and the U.S. Those woes are expected to worsen with the recent expiration of federal pandemic era funding for providers, which could further pinch working parents. In that climate, companies are getting creative. According to this article, there's one sports technology company called Huddle, which opened an on-site child care center at its Lincoln headquarters just earlier this year. Also, Omaha-based nonprofit QLI turned to a startup, Swishboom, to connect its staff with vetted on-demand backup childcare providers. Kylie Armitage, who's the director of operations at QLI, says, we knew the childcare issue is everywhere. QLI provides rehabilitation services for people with brain or spinal cord injuries. She went on to say it can be expensive, hard to find trusted carer, or when a caregiving family member gets sick. Affordable and quality childcare also an issue, according to a 2022 Nebraska Chamber of Commerce policy brief. Apparently, affordable and quality childcare is key to helping parents in Nebraska's workforce during the post-pandemic economic recovery. Again, people still reeling from the economic hardships of the pandemic, and of course, with evictions expected to go up as moratoriums are lifted and a lot of the protections from the pandemic are being lifted. People expecting more hardships. Childcare challenges started again even before COVID-19. Many parents struggled to find and afford it before the pandemic, as annual childcare costs often rose past the cost of college tuition. Providers operating on thin margins face financial uncertainty, and those struggles hurt the state. Actually, a 2020 study by the University of Nebraska Lincoln showed that the state was already losing about $745 million annually when parents drop out of the workforce or move elsewhere because of lack of childcare. So again, some businesses we've actually talked about North End Telecommunications. They will be having a child care facility in their new headquarters that they're building right there on the Deuce. So more are we going to be seeing more and more of this? I've even mentioned reports of school districts building apartments for their teachers and staff members and things like that. Is this the future?
I mean, it's not a new idea. I've heard of companies back in the day that decided they wanted to provide that for their workers. But there's been all kinds of iterations of things that people provide and companies provide for their workers, from rides to work to housing. You know, just thinking about boom towns back in the 1890s and in 1900s and stuff like that. They would hit a spot and build a factory and then build housing all around that factory for the
Yep.
workers.
Yep.
So it's not a new idea. What do we have the kind of industries that normally do that kind of stuff nowadays? I think it's definitely out of style with corporations to do that. They don't really do that too much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's something about that gig economy and these other ways that people think about work. Thinking about that movie where the woman was working at Walmart, understanding about the transient nature of Walmart factory workers, stuff like that, factory towns. Right, exactly, Miss Erica Felt. So it's not a new idea, and it didn't really prove to be a solution then. It didn't really, in a general level. On a general level, I don't feel comfortable trusting corporations to make sure I'm housed and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's the solution. Good questions. I'm looking at Miss Erica Felt in the chat saying Swish Boom is predominantly full of babysitters and not qualified providers. Shake my head. Not fetching from the app, but it's not for providers. So that's another thought. We have expert child care people that are chat chimers that are letting us know they're not just watching the kids; they're educating the kids. They're treating the kids as people in the community.
Mm-hmm.
There's that connection. There's the connection to how your children are being raised, and the standards at which you need to have things in order for people to feel safe to leave their children with you, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, that's the other part. I think about like I think we were going to a gym at one time that talked about that they were gonna little man can go be with all the other kids, and there was a couple like babysitters in there too. Same kind of situation. You don't even want to leave them there while you're there.
Mm-hmm.
It don't feel who are they really watching these kids? You know what I'm saying? Like it's a tough situation. So I feel like if you are a company that's going to do something like that, then you probably need to be a company that provides not just child care, but education. You need to be a facility that does the same kind of work as like Miss Erica Felt with the play school does, where you have a connection to the community. You're providing education for the kids. You have qualified individuals there teaching, watching. They're paid well, and all those things. Might be a bigger investment than people are willing to give. Who knows? Don't know. T. Ren in the chat, so that was in the past, but but now stigmatizes as communist nonsense, right? Like, it's silly that it is though, because it's corporations we're talking about doing this kind of stuff. We're not talking about the government, right? But yeah, that's what it's kind of looked at that way. And anyways, like I said, I don't know if I trust a corporation to be the person. I can see if you sign a contract to work with a company and they have housing for that company or other kinds of amenities, maybe while you work there, that's fine. But you got to remember, we're also living in a time where your allegiance to a company is not the same as it was before either.
Yeah.
People would go work somewhere and work 20, 30 years, and it was fine after that. They live off a pension and so on and so forth. Now, that's not the case. You give 20, 30 years to a company and they just let you go.
Man,
So
if you make it that far.
there you go. And the way that they change things up, who people hop corporations. So how you gonna maintain a place to live if you're depending on your job to give it to you? The job situation is so perilous than it used to be. I don't see how anybody could trust that. I don't see how anybody would be able to trust it. Tony Johnson in the chat says, hard to make money taking care of people. Responsibilities used to be taken care of by family. Very true. Um, also, anyone can be a babysitter. Turn on the TV and give kids a drink. That's Mr. Eric Felt.
Red drink.
Bo says, good everything. My apologies for chiming in late to my brothers and sisters. Appreciate you coming in and all, bro.
Welcome.
Tony Johnson says people want that, cannot afford it. Buffett's cheaper. That's the problem. That's what that's what a lot of people are saying right now, especially about like the Buffett centers are taking in kids for free. So what does that mean for childcare providers that are actually doing what we're asking them to do? The ones in our neighborhoods that we want to watch our kids. What does that mean? Because they got to get paid. But the economic situation is not there for that. The industry is not there. In the same way that teachers don't get paid well. In the same way. When I think about that kind of service stuff, I got to put police in there too, man. Police is always getting their budgets upped all the time, every year. Increases for work they think is necessary. And that's not the case for teachers. It's not the case for it's. Mr. Eric says, we have ongoing education. I average 200 hours a year of training.
And I'm curious, do you have to pay for that? Is that subsidized?
Or how does your model work there? T. Ren says these companies are runaway horses now. They are subsidized by the government, so they don't have to have any kind of loyalty to the employee. Right. Yeah, that's loyalty to the employee thing. There's whole generations that don't know nothing about that. Generation X was the last generation that watched our parents work for 20, 30 years somewhere and then get a watch and some walking papers.
Man.
And then we was like, well, that's the end of I remember being a young man and my parents telling me, if you happen to get into this good company, then you should be good. Put in 20 years is what I used to hear all the time. 20 years.
Really?
All you had to do is get 20 years in and you can retire and then
be straight.
Now I know that was something that a corporation came up with in order to draw people into work, and they lived up to that for a while, and then they decided that was against their business. They wasn't going to work for their business model and stopped it. And every generation after mine don't sound like a fairy tale when I tell them that. Yeah, back in the day, you used to be able to work for a company for 20 years and you could retire and be done. So if you started at 20, you can be done by 40. And just live off a pension.
Man. Yeah, that's when people were only living till 50 and 60.
I was going to say. Yeah, 55. But.
Yeah, they expected you to not be around for too much longer.
This is so true. Wanda Lewis said, this is why young people move around. They go where the money is. No benefits and long-term commitment to an employer. And in turn, no long-term commitment to an area. How can you be? You got to go where the bag's at, and you got to change up, and you got to have a whole bunch of different kinds of skills, and you got to, how do you lock stuff down? That's why like millennials and generations Y and everybody else ain't thinking about buying no homes nowhere.
Yeah,
this is why we got so many apartment complexes, because you can jump in and out of them. Tony Johnson says, need change the mindset of what quality needing is. If it is a business supply and demand right now, people valuing cheaper service over quality. Long process to change this mindset. You ain't just got to change the mindset. You got to change the business model. Ms. Erica Phelps says, since COVID, there are required trainings for providers that are free. However, I already have all those. Laugh out loud. So yes, I either pay or luckily some people like me and I get scholarships.
Okay.
T. Ren says now they ask you after 10 to 15 years, so they don't have to pay you into the beyond. Yeah, they will do that. Bo says more profit sharing, maybe. profit sharing. Yeah,
Oh man,
that'd be
you get
great.
into profit sharing. Like you really expect these corporations to share their profits with the employees?
No, there's models. I know a couple people that have work for companies out in California that actually have shares in the company. They've given to the employees, and now the whole company are owners.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I'm sure you're gonna have a few companies that do that, but it's not gonna be the norm.
no, it's a pretty big business model actually, but it's never it's never the big corporation business model. It's always a small business of 50 or less.
Well, yeah, less slices of the pie.
Less slices of the pie. Of course, then we're in the age of unions right now too, though.
Yeah,
So unions are up doing the thing, and they're asking for slices of the pie with their demands as well. So I mean, there's also I worked for Sam's Club once, which is a Walmart
hmm
Walgreens, and they gave you a small stock option in your thing to work for them. It's very small. As a matter of fact, if I go look at it now, it might be I need to go find that stock option.
now that you think about
Yeah,
it.
it might be worth something these days.
Now that I think about it,
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, the moral of the story for me is that we're always are talking about tactics that companies are using to get people to come work. Um, they have to the tactics I'm seeing now have to respond to what's going on in society. If we're having a housing crisis, then it's worth it for a North End Teleservices, for instance, to say, well, we're going to build a facility and have some housing on top of it for you to come stay. If transportation is a problem in society in our city right now, it's worth it for a company to say, "Hey, we'll drive you to work." If childcare is a crisis right now, then I can see why companies are going to try to put childcare facilities inside of their workplace or subsidize their workers to go where they want to go, which is probably the most ideal place thing to do. But man, as a business owner, I'm constantly like, what would entice anybody to come and work?
hmm
Well, what do you need out here? Where you know what I'm saying? I need to start giving people gas cards to come to work because gas is so expensive, right? I mean, like it really depends on the nature of what's going on in society right now. What's happening? Did
man.
Biden did Biden help you with your student loan, or do you got a student loan debt? Because I know companies sometimes will go in and pay your student loan off to come work for them.
Yeah, I mean, you got companies that pay for education and all kind of incentives.
Big time, big time. Appreciate everybody that's jumping in the chat here. I'm seeing it going off. Thank you, thank you. Brooke gives us a good morning. Bo is saying I'm speaking facts. I appreciate that, my man.
Hey,
Uh, Mama God said Hy-Vee is employee owned. I didn't know that.
yeah, IV is employee owned. I've actually, that was an idea that I would talk to like classmates back in like, well, say around 2012, 13. Like, what would happen if we had an employee owned, community owned grocery store in North Omaha? And I think that was actually a conversation we had when we were following the land bank story.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's a case study right there because that's a much bigger company. Hy-Vee's a much bigger company than I've ever seen that's doing profit sharing. Me personally, I mean, like I said, I know they're out there. It's a big model. But I don't know. Does that mean they can share in the profits? But does that mean they're making a living wage? That may not mean
Right,
that they're
right,
making a
right.
living wage. Still, we'll see. Marlon Harrison said the 2007 recession is the reason why a lot of millennials lost their trust in corporations. Seeing people lose their jobs or take pay cuts made us not want to work company for 30 plus years. Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Like I said, Generation X, same thing.
Not to mention the housing crisis or the
Not to
bubble.
mention getting kicked out of your house on top of it. On top of it, who want to buy a house when you don't know if you're gonna be able to keep it?
Yeah. Tony Johnson also adding the same thing for old folks. He says the resurgence after 2007 is the reason why old folks lost trust in respecting young people work ethic and ability.
Yeah, but you got to understand why. You got to understand why.
Not falling for the okey doke, the
No, bro,
old carrot on the stick.
we watched the older generation fall for the okey doke on that big time.
Man,
Man. Families put my families. Like I said, I grew up in a family full of entrepreneurs. Everybody kind of had a business, but the few people that did work regular jobs, watch them put blood, sweat, and tears and hours in, days, Here, I was just thinking of you, pops, and here he comes. He says the company I work for had retirement, stock options, etc. But most don't roll like that anymore. My company was called Pitney Bowes, and they were hiring blacks and women in the 1920s.
I think I heard of that company before.
I was thinking about the jobs that pops had before that, and there were jobs where he was working blood, sweat, and tears, putting in 7 days to six days a week, 12-hour days, with the promise of this and the promise of that, and they didn't give it to him. I think when he got to Pitney Bowes was the first time that he got to a company that halfway acted right.
Hmm.
So it's rare. It was still very rare. Pitney Bowes is not the same company now as it was then, because the industry has changed, technology has changed, and so on and so forth. But it's very rare. It was very rare even then to find something like that. Ms. Erickfeld says when Boogie had an incident being racially profiled and grossly approached by an off-duty officer Hy-Vee hired for security, they immediately fired him. Okay, so Hy-Vee company we need to look into a little bit more. I always thought of Hy-Vee as like the expensive grocery store. I don't know if I can afford shop. I might as well go to Whole Foods if paying them kind of Hy-Vee prices. But if it's employee owned, that's a different story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She also says people talk down on Hy-Vee, but I've been faithful since I got to Omaha. They used to have managers that gave me crates of oranges and cases of mac and cheese for me to give to my neighbors at Timber Ridge.
Wow. Okay, Hy-Vee, come on with it. Where's the? I wonder. I wonder about the employee. I wonder about that though. If it's employee owned, like the people who are working at that particular stores are are part owners of the store. I don't know how. I'd like to know how the model works now.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Marianne Williams said, "We'll rehearse and then jump to a new subject here."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's hard. It's hard not to imagine what percentage of companies will stay open for 20, 30 years, seeing so many 100-year plus companies going under. True too. Very true too. Mama God, my dad came up with Xerox, who competed with Pitney Bowes in terms of hiring practices. Yeah, I remember the stories of Xerox feeling the pressure because of how Pitney Bowes was doing certain things. And other companies too, like Xerox. Xerox always felt the pressure, and they were not as prominent as they were back in the day because of people coming up doing things differently. So anyway, yeah, moving on. Appreciate everybody that's joined into the chat on this one. Very
Mm-hmm.
interesting subject. Definitely go back and check it out if you missed any parts of this discussion. Go back and check it out in its entirety on Facebook and YouTube, and check out the chat. That's where a lot of this stuff is going. I'm trying to read as many as I can, but yeah, that's what's up. Brooke's talking about Zappos, the best company I work for. I learned a lot about Zappos and their business model from my sister working there.
Mm.
And there's a lot of business models, bro. A lot of business models. I'm not sure why why she didn't stay there. Maybe you want to share that, Brooke. I'm not. I never really understood what happened. There was other. I don't remember what happened, but I just remember even ever since you left Zappos, kept talking about how great of a company it was. So there's still some. Like there's a lot of stuff going on in California right now too that do that. People change the model all the time. Apple changed their model, and we all remember Steve Jobs decided he wasn't gonna wear no suit, and he was gonna come in there and you can be a hippie and you can work and you can do what you want to do. He kind
Mm-hmm.
of exploited the workers there, but the point was all of a sudden you saw green haired hippies riding around on skateboards inside the corporations. That was their attempt to try and change the culture.
Yeah.
Let
Google
people
too.
express themselves. Google, yeah. There's all kinds of movements all the time about it, but when is people gonna just? I don't need all that. Just give me a living wage. You know what I'm saying? Brooke said I went to massage school when I was working there, so I got into massage after that, but missed it once I got the massage. Went back to Zappos. Yeah,
Mm. Okay.
a good company. And when you let's do a test case. When you say that they were the best company you ever worked for, why? Was it the amenities? Was it what was it that made them the best company? The culture? Did they pay a living wage? What was the criteria? Both said, I'm moving to Omaha for this revolution. Black owned factories and markets are what is missing from our communities.
Man, agree.
Brooke said they have free food, free cafe, good health care, good pay, good people.
Man, there you go. There you go. Mama God also chiming in and says AT&T was my ish. I loved working for them. Actually, I was spoiled by them, and no company satisfied me after that.
Wow.
I could definitely sense that. You know, my Dukes was happy working at AT&T. She used to go on business trips and travel all the time. We would take family trips. Things were different. Things were different.
Why? What was the
I
tell us
just I felt like she was making more.
yeah,
She can definitely.
yeah, I'm asking Mama God. What about just like I was asking Brooke, what about AT&T about what about it made it the best job? Just to get a little, just to get a little idea. To me, what makes something a good job is you got freedom in the job to be able to work, and you're getting paid a living wage, and you got some security there. You know that you can keep that job.
Mhm.
So
Man, Tony Johnson hitting us with some news. He says 94 million released for diverse job creation, none for Nebraska. Call elected officials and ask why.
mm, this is the first time hearing about this 94 million. We have to look into that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right on. 8:20 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we'll definitely jump into some other subjects
Hmm.
as we go along. We had a couple really interesting things lined up. Buddy, you want to go ahead and transition?
Yeah, yeah. I guess kind of while we're talking about the money and following the money a little bit, we can dive into this COVID-19 case coming out of Nebraska Examiner. Apparently, an Omaha woman who fraudulently helped obtain nearly $1 million in COVID-19 recovery funds is being sentenced to prison. An Omaha woman who helped herself and 10 others to fraudulently obtain nearly $1 million in federal COVID-19 recovery funds was sentenced to 42 months in prison. The sister Tamika Cross was also ordered to pay $552,000 in restitution for conspiracy to commit wire fraud in relation to false applications for loans and grants authorized via the COVID or Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security or CARES Act. She also provided guidance for 10 others to create the appearance of viable businesses by providing phony documents and inflating their revenue and employment. Collected funds based on lies. All told, Cross helped submit false applications for Paycheck Protection Program or PPP grants and economic injury disaster loans, totaling about $3.4 million. Her co-defendants obtained approximately $903,000 in loans and advances.
Mm.
Man, and I'm hearing more and more about this. Actually, charges against Cross and others were brought via the COVID-19 Fraud Enforcement Task Force established by the U.S. Attorney's Office in 2021 to investigate pandemic-related fraud. Anyone with tips can call 866-720-5721. But I've heard more and more theories about this, as far as people saying that this was kind of set up to for these types of situations. To get people caught up like this.
The money became available in 2020. By 2021, they had a whole task force
Man,
ready to bust people that misappropriated it. And every time I'm looking around, I'm not seeing a whole bunch of. I'm seeing a whole lot of us getting caught up. Not a whole lot of other people. I don't know. Miss
that
Erica
part.
Pelt says that's a lick. Not much time for that much money. Interesting.
Hmm.
We had a couple stories on standby about some folks that we knew in the community that was also getting tagged up. And a lot of the idea there was they kind of didn't know how to fill out the paperwork all the way right and so on. I
Mm-hmm.
remember being some confusion about the whole process. And apparently, if you, it's the same thing with this DED money. Same thing I'm worried about when it comes to that. When you're dealing with state money or state funds, you do something wrong, you can go to jail on that. So your paperwork got to be right. You got to understand the process. You got to fill things out right. You got to make sure that you act right with it. There's a whole lot of stuff that's there. So I'm sure there was people that had made mistakes that are getting caught up by this task force. This story doesn't seem like one of those. It seems like they was out to try to hit a lick in a big way.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, it's just interesting to me. They got a whole task force. They decided that instead of being diligent about doling out the money in the first place, they kind of just doled out the money and then came back with now let me see if now let's see if it all was straight, it was legit.
Right. Right. That is interesting because had they, there been a tighter vetting process through all this, you probably would have caught all of that to begin with, rather than putting people in jail.
Right. So yeah, it does feel a little bit like a setup
Yeah,
little bit sometimes.
brother Knight, Mr. Stewart in the chat also agreeing. He says, "Yeah, it was a trap. Took advantage of the boss babe culture."
Mm, interesting.
Also,
Mm-hmm.
Tony Johnson says, "Long term benefit of high conviction rate. A department gets more money for that."
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting.
The old okey doke, huh?
I mean, just it's like don't even, man. I don't know, man. It's just it's a trip. Um, I felt that way too about that. I felt that way about a whole bunch of things. Like I remember even at the time I needed to go for unemployment, and the process was so weird, messed up, and and not just unemployment, but it was during that time during COVID. It's like
Mm-hmm.
there were some special things that you had to do now for unemployment because of COVID funds, and there was people out there. I had friends that were taking jobs on that taught you how to fill out those applications because because of how complicated it all was, and and then people got in trouble for that. Like they got too much they got too much unemployment money coming came or excuse me, not unemployment. Whoa, excuse me, not unemployment money, but COVID relief money. They had too much coming, and if they didn't give it back, they was in trouble.
Mm.
Instead of like making the process easy enough and vetted enough to be able to just get it right in the first place, it was rushed through. They
Yep.
just sent out the money,
Yep.
and then it was up. And then now, if you messed up on your application and got all
It's
that
your
money,
fault.
it's your fault, right? Craziness.
Yeah. And again, same with the DED. these are pandemic relief funds.
Yeah,
So yeah,
got
we'll
to act right.
definitely, hopefully, be able to get them on this Friday to kind of talk about some of that a little bit, get into that.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. Yeah, just to let people know that weren't here a little earlier in the show. Definitely been talking to the DED about coming on to the show, and from right now we have a tentative Friday interview with them. It's not all the way secured yet, but I'm just putting the word out. Be looking for it because we're working on that.
Yep. Yep. But yeah, let's go ahead and move along. Just about 30 minutes left in the show. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. We definitely appreciate you for letting your mind be free, letting your voice be heard, and kind of pivot to the next topic. A lot of this was a lot of people chimed in on this one, talking about the school choice situation. Public schools advocates qualify a referendum on opportunity scholarship. So the whole school choice bill will be making its way to the election ballot in 2024, as expected. Again, by all accounts, by all reports, it looked like these efforts to sign the ballot, if you will, were on the trajectory of success. And Tuesday afternoon, the Nebraska Secretary of State's office confirmed that Support Our Schools Nebraska, which is the organization behind the effort, submitted more than enough valid signatures to force a referendum on LB 753, also known as the Opportunity Scholarships Act. Public school advocates have condemned the law as a roundabout way to funnel public tax dollars to finance private schools. The law allows taxpayers to designate up to half of their state income tax payment to an organization that provides scholarships to private and parochial K-12 schools. The entire program is capped at $25 million in the first year, but could eventually grow to $100 million by next year. Again, opponents to LB 753 called it a tax scheme that will suck away funds from state priorities, including education, social services, and even roads. Advocates, meanwhile, maintain that the law will give low-income families an alternative for children who may be struggling in the public school. Nebraska was one of only 2 states in the nation that did not provide some kind of quote-unquote school choice option. A Support Our Schools leader said Tuesday the overwhelming success of the signature drive is a clear sign that Nebraskans want a vote on the issue. So yeah.
There it is. It went to a vote. We were we've been talking about this subject for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the consensus was don't sign,
Decline to sign was
decline to
the
sign. Yeah. But enough people signed, so now it goes to vote. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. I think we're
mm-hmm.
in a state where that's probably going to be a bad thing, according to certain people. This is one of these are this is a one of those hot button issues though for us Chad Chimers for Sky Omaha. Half and half, we're split. We go back and forth about this particular subject all the time. So now it's going to come to a vote. We'll see. We'll see how people vote on it.
Yeah.
And again, I think just acquiring some understanding about what that means, where the money is actually going, coming from, and so on is crucial here.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing because even though they did get the signatures, again, there's a lot of controversy, a lot of confusion surrounding this. So I'm still not 100% sure that the people who signed, fully understood what they were signing. Did they understand that this is in support or opposition? I don't know. I don't know. So I would like to see more information on this. Definitely more background, kind of more plans if this does go through. Like how can we ensure that these low income families that they're talking about that this is supposed to be for? How do we ensure that they actually get the benefit? How
Right.
do we ensure that more, okay, what path is being clear for more private schools in North Omaha and in South Omaha, that are for these people, like we keep pointing to Nelson Mandela, which is again, it's named after Nelson Mandela. There's cultural significance with that. Like, where are there more opportunities like that acknowledge our culture? Where's that? So that's my
Very
kind of my
true.
question for that one.
Let us know what your question for that one is. We definitely, like I said, this is one of those subjects we are continuing to talk about and kind of get split down the middle on sometimes. But let's reiterate to each other what our opinions are on this subject. And again, this is now it's really crucial to get all the facts here because now this is
Right.
about to be voted on.
Right.
So
And we again, the whole part of us starting this, as far as First Guy Omaha and our first season being the Ballad of the Bullet, is to try to help build a educated and informed voter base.
there you go. Before we move on to the next subject, just want to jump back into the chat real quick. Mama God is giving us the reasons why her job at AT&T was so great. She said AT&T offered free health insurance for family, education paid upfront and not reimbursed model. They just seemed to invest in the employees who made them their money. So again, uh, perks and amenities and things that make life easier based on what's going on in our society at the time. We all know that it's a real struggle to have to pay for health insurance. The health insurance industry is all kinds of messed up anyway. For a company to offer free health insurance is huge.
Mm.
For a company to offer free education is huge. So again, tackling health insurance, tackling student debt, and so on. So just programs that like she's saying, seem to invest in the employees. Uh,
Man,
and then I'm sure that they paid well too. They paid a living wage, so you probably felt like you can get ahead. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So thanks for
speak.
that. Hmm.
Actually, I wanted to add on to that because further down, she gives even more benefits, which I find interesting. She says money, benefits, opportunities, security, cool culture, full cafeteria, employee appreciation events, people of color in highest places, women's support, and so much more. Started in factory and ended up in high middle management in less than 5 years. And that just kind of that makes me think of like that just sounds like community. That's all that I'm hearing is just a good community of people who care about each other. And whether we're talking about business or just community, I think is, we need more of that, period, across the board.
Yeah,
You
very
know,
much.
diverse leadership, support for women, benefits like sounds like community to me.
But I mean, who's gonna? I mean, who's going to? It's kind of the problem there, though. Is like who's going to do that besides corporations? Is the government going to do that? How do communities get supported? What can we do to help communities get supported? We put this call out for everybody to join your neighborhood association and start one if you don't have one in your neighbor
Mhm.
in your area. And that's the first steps, the beginnings of building some kind of community that's based on everybody that's around you, based on people that live around you, and it's for the purpose of being able to kind of get together and make sure everybody's living right and helping out each other and getting things from the government that you need to get for your area. that everybody kind of shares, and you know, and building that community, knowing who the neighborhood child care facility is, for instance, and so on and so forth. But you know, our country's kind of built. First of all, America is a corporation, so our
Hello.
whole thing is built on that in the first place. And so when you think about, we have to depend on corporations to act right with us, to build something that should be built elsewhere. I mean, don't you feel like community should be built elsewhere outside of a job, a corporation? Or do you feel like that's we just have to take that, because that's the we live in America, which is a corporation. We live in a culture of corporations. So corporations and they have most of the power, and they have most of the influence politically and everything else. So since that's the case, they need to be providing community for us. Is that the consensus? What's your thoughts on that one?
Um, I think just as people, because yes, a corporation is like, yes, your whole stands for corporations, but corporations are made up of people. I think as people, we should be focused on building community wherever we are, and I think from that central focus, everything will kind of build itself out from there. Like whether we're in corporations, I think if people just came from a communal human point, then the corporations would look differently. You know, government would operate differently. Nonprofit organizations would operate differently if we kept people at the center of things and not business.
This is true. I mean, but that goes for everything, though. It goes for it's just starting
Right.
school. It's just starting school. You know, we should be focusing on people. Um, Tony Johnson in the chat earlier said, still no conversations discussing solutions to improve academics and suspension issues for black students. Again, not really concentrating on people.
People.
Uh, Also, Stacey Jean says filing for unemployment is deliberately difficult. They keep questioning my right to receive it, and it took 8 weeks before I could get unemployment. I wrote the appeal board a really nice letter about my rights as an unemployed individual. I didn't have any more problems afterwards.
Hmm.
It's what I'm saying. It's such a process. It's so many hoops to jump through, and if you're working, you don't have time to sit down and go through everything and write a letter, then you're in trouble. But you know, here's what happened. This is what happened for people that do this. Not people. You're not people based. You're not concentrating on people. You're skeptical. You're trying to figure out if you really should be getting it. You know, they're scared to let. You know, it's messed up. Going back to that whole thing, T. Ren says that is the point of the school choice bill, though. So we're talking back on that subject of the school choice bill. We're supposed to be voting on here pretty soon. The question: is there going to be stuff like the Malcolm X school, like Paul Film is talking about? Is there, if we can, if this passes, will everybody be able to use it, and not just the way it's being used right now? Tony Johnson says, is there enough teachers, specifically black teachers and staff, for a new school?
Great question.
Very great question. Um, I'm gonna skip past a couple of these here. Yes, Rick Fulton, we do know who Key Station is. He works for the mayor's office, doing some things. Not really sure about your particular case. Tony Johnson in the chat says, keep in mind more people were married or living in bigger households with income streams than now. Yeah, but I'm also realizing that even people that aren't married are living together. There's a whole lot of living together happening right now, because that's how people are affording houses.
Man.
I know a lot of folks that were together, ain't together no more, still can't move yet. Still got to stay teamed up to handle the house that they bought together, and so on and so forth. So it's rough. Um, Also, Mama God says, I was confronted with private school petition signing quite often. I did not sign because I did not understand the petition fully.
Thank you.
They were out in force. They were out in force. A couple of times I was in conversations and people walked up rudely intervening,
Man.
really just like just in your face. You remember that? You was there.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, man. So they apparently that tactic worked enough to get enough signatures, and now it's going to a vote. T. Ren says the corporation should have never been given personhood.
Man.
Wow, that's a rabbit hole there. So loss of community increased the cost of needs and services for people. Focusing on self is expensive experience. Whew, heavy. Paul Philman says my Teamster union advocated for employees' excellent benefits and rights protections. I'm glad you brought up the unions. We're in the season of the union right now, for real. Unions are rising up, standing up. Everybody's on strike. Lots going on here because of this very thing we're talking about. I remember after the pandemic, people were having a hard time coming back to work. Nobody wanted to come back, and my theory was, oh, they figured out a way to make a living without having to be at work. When the pandemic had everybody staying home,
Mm-hmm.
and so why would they want to come back to be exploited? And business owners were saying everybody wants to be lazy and just take PPP money and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And we were like, you ain't gonna live off them couple of checks that Trump sent out. You're not living off that. You're not. You know what I'm saying? You need more
Mm-hmm.
money than that. So no. What is the real reason? Well, the real reason is that people are, don't want to go back to industries that they have no loyalty to in the first place, that are not treating them well, not people based in the first place. Why would they want to come back to that if they can find another way?
Yeah. And I think we're not really talking about the classism that's kind of in the midst
Mm,
of all this. Like let's acknowledge the fact that most of the corporate owners, the people who are making the corporate decisions for these corporations, are the same people who are writing the laws.
mm,
And if they're not the same people writing the laws, they're in each other's pockets.
interesting. Kimmer says we need to get off that Citizens United. Isn't that the name? What are we talking about? Not sure what you mean there. Gwenny's here in the chat. Good morning. She says some people that signed did not understand. Talking about
The petition.
petition. Some people that signed did not understand what they were signing. I talked to over 100 families at a couple of events, and many said they were misled. I explained how it would benefit kids to be able to attend schools that would help them academically. I went and told the Decline to Sign group that those who were asking people to sign was misleading families. They started making videos to help families understand how the tax credit would benefit children. Ooh, I didn't see those videos. I'd like to see those. See what they were saying, what they were pushing there. Nonetheless, again, the reason why we're even talking about this petition that declined to sign is because now it's become a situation where we have to vote on it. So we got to get back to understanding everything we need to know about this bill in order to really get a grasp on what it is. So the information is key. Mama God says community should be across the board. If you think about it, neighborhood and companies seem to care more about the people that keep it running.
Yeah, the millionaires, billionaires, and politicians will help them and give them subsidies. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Further up, Mama God says, "I blame the demise of society on the microwave. Once that technology was realized, we as people forever wanted and enjoyed the concept of having what you want right in seconds. Microwave society,
Wow.
instant gratification.
That is interesting. Um, that's interesting theory. That's I have to think about that one.
Got marinate on that one a little bit, Mama
Marinate
God,
on
with
that.
the."
Interesting theory. We do, but I think there's some legitimate feeling too, just as human beings, we're not that things are not based around people, and we kind of get exploited a lot of times. A lot of
Mhm.
times out here is working
I
these
mean, that's
jobs.
why we resonated with Senator McKinney as far as giving power to the people.
Yeah. We all know, and all the generations after me know that we're out here just making other people rich, and there is a point at which you're like, okay, I guess I can go ahead and help make you rich if you got enough, if you're taking care of what I need. Everybody got a point at which they're like, okay, I'll go ahead and work for you. What is that point? I remember my point fluctuating a lot of times. I remember being so broke sometimes. I was like, man, I'll stop doing music. You can just go ahead. If you just pay me 50 grand a year, I'll just stop. I'll just go ahead and just do that.
Hmm.
Like you be trading your passions and everything in order to just get some security.
Isn't that the saying though? These corporations pay you to give up on your dreams.
Give up on your dreams and make somebody else rich. Everybody knows it now. So now you just at work mad until you can figure something else out. Tony Johnson is bringing up Results of affirmative action mainly benefiting white folks and their spouses. DEI was another way of getting white folks employed and an influence on these topics discussed. Yeah, we had an article that we didn't get into talking about most of the DEI positions are not people of color in there trying to bring some diversity to the people's companies.
Man, and the ones that are getting fired within a year or two.
I say, I guess so. T. Wren is saying only people misleading families is Senator Wayne. Okay, I'm interested in how that is the case. It's a tax break for the rich. It is not going to help more black people, more black students and families into private schools. I mean, here we go. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's kind of back and forth against about this particular subject.
And how exactly the tax break will work,
right?
and who.
How it will work. And that is the case. I mean, if you think about whether or not you think there's this tax break is going to result in a whole bunch of like black schools or Malcolm X school or something popping up, I don't know. I do know how Republicans are using this and how private schools are in other places where they're evacuating their kids out of public school in order to go teach them what they want to teach them. Those things are happening. So,
Well,
but do you want to leave the door open in order for something to happen on the level of building schools in our own community as well?
right. I just on that real quick, I'm just kind of having a thought. I think the interesting thing is we see the opportunity in this bill, but like how far are we from actually being able to seize the opportunity? Like how many people actually do know the whole process of filing for taxes to even include a tax break? Like how to even file for the tax break? Who in the community knows that? Who's giving that information? Like you said, who's building it? Who's going to build it if we do have the private schools? So I do see it. I see both sides. I see the opportunity where the community can be able to or should be able to, take advantage of this, but I also see all the hurdles for the community to actually be able to. Like, who's going to donate to this to even get the tax break?
Very true. Juana Lewis brings up another point that takes us down another rabbit hole for another time. Because the homeschooling should not be exempt. Got to talk about the whole homeschooling thing in the midst of all those that debate as well. So appreciate everybody's chat on this one. It's 8:47 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we have a couple more things we wanted to run down. You want a lightning round, a couple things before we get moving to the haps.
Yeah. I guess just before these last 15 minutes of the show, jumping into food a little bit. There's some news going down as far as the food situation, and big shout out to again. We always give love and light to our brothers and sisters of the Omaha tribe, but also the Winnebago and Ho Chunk Farms. Looks like they're making some moves that we should be aware of. Aaron Lapointe, who sits behind the desk at the Little Priest Tribal College Library basement, is ready to speak to a class in a new program he helped develop called Diversified Agriculture. On the Winnebago tribe, he believes how Ho Chunk Farms, which is the tribe's farming company, is changing the face of agriculture on their reservation. When you ask a student at my high school what a farmer looks like, they will tell you a white guy with cowboy boots and cowboy hat on, said Lapointe, who is senior director of business operations for Ho Chunk Incorporated. He went on to say they didn't see themselves as farmers. They just thought that's what the white guys do, and we just let them use our land to do that. That perception is rooted in a century of reality. The tribe only owns roughly 27,000 acres of its own 120,000 acre reservation. After U.S. government actions that directly and indirectly led its farmland to pass into non-native hands, mostly white farmers. But that reality is starting to change. In the past 5 years, three Nebraska tribes, the Winnebago, the Iowa tribe of Kansas, and the Nebraska and Ponca tribe of Nebraska, have bought an estimated 3,000 acres total of farmland that was once theirs. Despite the tribe's recent financial success, the process has been neither cheap nor easy, as we can assume. Tribal leaders say white landowners who know that buying back land is a priority believe the tribes can and will pay any price. All three tribes are paying prices that are higher than normal, according to a Flatwater Free Press analysis of data gathered by the University of Nebraska Lincoln. The Winnebago tribe spent nearly $10,000 per acre on average to buy back 340 acres of agricultural land. that's about $3,000 higher than the actual price of the property.
Mm.
Whole chunk leaders like LaPointe thinks the higher prices and headaches are worth it. Let's see. I'm sorry, somebody just sent me a note. Today, let's see. Oh yeah, today the Iowa tribe of Kansas and Nebraska owns about half of its 12,000 acre reservation, with native and non-native land ownership checkerboarded throughout. On the Winnebago reservation, many families lost their land back, paying unfamiliar taxes, or sold the land to cover medical bills, according to LaPointe. So very interesting seeing our brothers and sisters on the reservations trying to get their land. And to juxtapose that, at the same time, California is banning 4 food additives linked to disease. California has become the first U.S. state to outlaw the use of 4 potentially harmful food and drink additives that have been linked to an array of diseases, including cancer, and are already banned in dozens of countries. The California Food Safety Act prohibits the manufacturing, distribution, and sale of food and beverages that contain brominated vegetable oil, potassium bromate. Uh, I can't even pronounce that. I'm not even going to try. Red dye 3, which can be found in candy, fruit, juices, and cookies, and more. So,
I think
yes.
it's pretty significant. That part about California banning that stuff. Other countries have already banned that stuff and been
Mm-hmm.
banned for a long time. And this is this is kind of it's kind of a running thing with people in the world that are just like, America allows you to. It's all about commodities so hard that they'll allow you to eat a bunch of stuff that has art that has been deemed a carcinogen, been deemed like
Mm-hmm.
cancer causing, and they still will sell it and let you eat it. And it takes like a state like California to decide they're going to ban some of it. Skittles is banned in other countries, uh,
Just all the way.
all the way. Popcorn in bags and stuff like that is banned in other countries because of the chemicals that are in the situation.
Mm.
Yeah, Brooke is saying Sour Patch Kids is banned. Yeah, so it's a pretty interesting situation because like what I'm thinking about is just this information is out there. There's a whole bunch of laws that told people you have to be transparent about what it is that you are putting in your food. So the information is out there, and it's literally information we know. We can read it. We can find out that there's things that are cancer causing, and they're in the fact that they're still on the market is just like you kind of subconsciously go, well, it must be all right if the USDA or whoever said it's okay to sell, but that's not the case. And so people got to kind of look at other countries and see what they're doing and why. And I guess California's decided to do that. Miss Erica Feld says the food lobbyists are so strong here that money is put before people with the USDA. You absolutely doesn't seem like you can count on the USDA to say what it is that is the information is supposed to be out there, and you're supposed to know it and make your own decision. Freedom in America, right? The problem is not a lot. I mean, you're up against corporations that are pushing taste the rainbow and everything else. You got all this stuff that's going on that you're pushing against. Plus, they try to hide some of that information and stuff like that. They try to hide it because they still can want to sell it because they still can sell it. So now you got states like California that are deciding to ban certain things. Brooke says mom gets sick when she eats microwave popcorn, so she stopped eating it a while ago. Yeah, there's chemicals in the bag that are against the law in other countries. Marianne Williams says, for me personally, I can't deny children the chance for. Okay, so we're back on the education piece. She says, for me personally, I can't deny children the chance for a better education just because someone else might make money on it. Um, yeah, I mean, like I said, we go back and forth about this all the time for sure. And that's just the nature of things. Uh, so so anyway, we're going to continue to talk about it. And again, I said that my final thing on that one is that we really have to look at the facts and the information about this thing in order to vote on it now because now it's here. So we'll definitely do something that we'll continue to talk about for sure. But moving back a little bit, we are just we're kind of. Oh wait a minute, there we go. Hello.
Hey.
Definitely on this tip of understanding about our food. This, to me, a food conversation needs to happen.
Oh yeah.
Boost to the roots about that as well. Shout out to Ho Chunk for doing the things that they're doing for sure, and shout out to this being a platform for information. So I thought it was important. If California is banning certain things, it's worth a conversation for us to talk, and we are. So here we are. Like Brooks in the chat talking about how mom can't eat microwave popcorn. She can feel sick when she does. It's got
Mm.
chemicals in the bag. That's something that's banned. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know about that stuff. So we kind of gotta talk to each other about it because again, we're up against corporations that are trying to actively advertise to you that everything is good, safe,
Man.
and so on and so forth. Man, we're battling
That's right.
against that.
Yeah, and that's just another part of the conversation that we should acknowledge and add to it. I think back to I don't know if you remember Ross Decora used to come to the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation all the time, and again, Omaha and Jamaica has this relationship where there's a food festival. There's a festival that goes down in Jamaica, a food and jazz festival that goes down in Jamaica, and there were a couple years and summers. I don't know if they still do it, but the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation held like a sister ceremony in celebration in Omaha with that and try to educate people on what's going on with the Betty Shabazz community garden at the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation and just how food impacts a lot of the things that we talk about on a daily basis as far as just trying to survive that we don't talk about and we don't really think about. But like you said, a lot of the stuff that's been sold to us and being marketed to us is the word I'm thinking of. Um, Man, causing a lot of cancer, and it's usually the most cheap stuff, So, kind of go back to that statement that Michelle made. It's very expensive to be poor, when you're having to decide whether you're going to pay your rent, pay your car insurance, go grocery shopping. You might cut costs and try to pay for the cheapest food that you can find just to extend your dollar. But usually, the cheaper food is the food that's riddled with chemicals and red 40 and this, that, and the third. So yeah, big shout out to our brothers at the whole our brothers and sisters with the whole chunk incorporated and kind of leading that way and doing for self and fighting that food war in ways that they can.
Big time, big time. Brooke said that's why gardening is necessary these days for sure.
Man,
Miss Erica Fell says I just watched the Dick Gregory documentary. He caught hell for trying to educate the black community about healthy food.
oh yeah,
T. Ren says back to the corporation. They're the lobbyists now, the voters now, the campaign donators now, wrestling more of the livelihood away from the cancer that is the corporation will take radical approaches.
yeah, man.
Very expensive to be healthy physically, mentally, and socially. You ain't lying. With that said, it's 3 minutes until top of the hour. We'll go ahead and jump into a couple of haps. Again, we really thank everybody for putting your comments in, and of course, there's some subjects here that we will definitely continue to talk about
Hmm.
as we go along. So stay tuned. Haps is next.
What's the house?
That's a remix, y'all. That's a remix.
What's going down?
I don't remember that bass line.
Did a little impromptu mix there.
Yeah,
Time for the haps. Time for us to talk about a few things that's going down. First and foremost, of course, we are talking about the content creators camp. Only a few more classes. This is week 10 of a 12-week course. I highly encourage you to come and check out the. I haven't been able to come before that, and thanks to everybody that have been showing up to the classes. It's been really a great set of things, man. We got some big plans in the future for this, but I hope to see you at Elevator Spaces this Saturday at 10 o'clock. I'll be your instructor for one of the classes here, and like I say, we only got a couple classes left. So shout out to Flatwater Free Press for helping with this. Shout out to Culture House for helping as well, and then shout out to all of you that have showed up. You can go to Friends of First Sky Omaha, and there's a flyer pinned to the page there that'll allow you the ability to go ahead and register to come to this and get the newsletter. And again, I'll put the newsletter. I'll get the put that link in the chat as well for you to be able to do that. But love to see you there. Appreciate everybody that's come so far, and hope to see everybody who's been there before to come on back. Finally got that new flyer from the Black Agenda Alliance, who is going to be doing the gang education prevention summit here. It's going to be Saturday, the 14th of October now, from 2:30 to 5 at 5001 North 42nd Street in Omaha. Free food and free admission. As you can see, they have been piling up people that have been sponsoring this piece. It's interesting that Don Bacon is in there. Fraser Productions is in there. So there's a lot of people here. As you can see, First Sky Omaha, we're one of the sponsors for this event. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people behind this, man, and I'm glad to see it because they need more support. They're really the only organization that's putting boots to the roots, talking to the youth directly, and can come from a perspective that the youth might be able to hear a little bit more than they would be able to hear from other groups. So we appreciate the Black Agenda Alliance and Untamed, who move as one unit in order to step in here and try to help some of the things that's going on in our communities on a boots to the roots level. Appreciate that. Appreciate those brothers. We're going to try to have them on Monday to talk about this event a little bit more. But there it is. We got the new date, October 14th at 2:30 to 5 at 5001 North 42nd Street in Omaha. Definitely check that out for sure. Also, over at the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, this is Ernest Jackson's Born Day celebration is happening October 22nd. Music, food, art, spoken word, community engagement, and so on. Definitely come through, and the organizers there will also help you figure out how you can alleviate some of the stress that the brother has while he's in by blessing him with some gifts and so on and so forth. And not to mention, just it's a time of celebration, but it's also a time to reflect on the fact that this brother is in jail and he is not supposed to be there. He's in jail for a non-crime, something that is not even it's not even legal that he's still there in jail, and the fight goes on to help him get out.
Man,
So there'll be people there you can discuss this more with and get some of the whole story behind the reason why there's such a push for him to be released, and the reason why there's such a push by the state for them to keep him. And we'll be talking about it there on October 22nd. Again, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Music, food, art, spoken word, community engagement. Ernest Jackson's Born Day. See you there at the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation on that one. I'm just looking around. If you guys got any haps, I'm going to jump into the chat real quick and see if there's anybody who is telling us about any other haps that's happening. Let us know if you have anything that we need to be putting out there on Friends of First Sky Omaha and pushing as well. Really appreciate that for sure. Coming up at Vincent Theater, Dracula 77, comedy about Dracula that's kind of kind of funny. He's based in this is the setting is 1977. So with all the funny trappings that you can find there, pretty good show, man. The atmosphere and the things that they did for this show is pretty awesome. So definitely check it out. I think it starts Thursday night, Friday night. So there's a weekend run on this coming up. Go to bensontheater.com or .org and check it out and get your tickets and stuff there as well. Also coming up, like we were telling you earlier, there's a 100th anniversary. The Benson Theater building is 100 this year. It was built in 1923. 1923 was called the Bonalto Theater back then. So we're having our Bonalto Ball, the inaugural benefit for the Benson Theater, commemorating the 100th anniversary of the Benson Theater building. Mark your calendars. This is going to be November 11th, and we'll give you some more information on tickets and things for that. And I'd love to see everybody dressed up coming to the first fancy ball that the theater is going to throw. So that's going to be what's up for sure. Let's see what else we got here. Trunk or treat.
yeah, Mr. K's.
Yeah, somebody told me that they were going to be out there. So this is on the 14th as well, from noon to 3. Join us and come dressed in your best costume. He says, man, Mr. K's Clubhouse over at K-Pow, which is interesting that they're going to have that over there, 4725 F Street. And there's going to be a petting zoo there too. I wonder how that's going to work. So if
Word on
you're
the street. Word on the street is Miss Erica's Playhouse School is going to be there too.
Hey, there you go. There you go. So yeah, so check them out if this is your jam right here. Mr. K is doing big things in Omaha, and we're behind him all the way, man, on stuff he's trying to do. So we love the kids, and he's all about programming for the kids. So that's what's up.
Teaching the babies.
Teaching the babies. That's about it for right now. We'll save some of the rest. Yeah, it's 9:01 9:04 already. We're way past. We'll save some for Friday. Have a more extensive Haps Friday. So appreciate everybody who is who hung with us past the 9 o'clock hour. Apologize for that. But yeah, we wanted to try to get that in and let you know about some things that are coming up and just put it on people's minds, remind you guys, and so on and so forth. But thank you very much for everybody that joined in today. And we'll go ahead and get out of here, buddy. Got some words for the people?
Yeah, big shout out as always to the Ghost listeners, the chat chimers, everybody who's supporting this. Again, we're just two artists, man, trying to inform the community, trying to bring the community together, trying to get an understanding together. And you're witnessing this in real time. So we appreciate y'all for living alive with us right here, right now, right? Live on First Sky Omaha in the morning. So we appreciate you. We love you. We thank you as always. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and catch us same time, same place, man. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on First Sky in the morning.
That's right.
So yeah, Paul B, take it away, man.
Yeah, man. Miss Erica Feld is saying Brighten Our Futures Early Learning Center will be at Trunk or Treat.
Okay.
Shout out to Sunita Buddi, who was a listener and a friend of First Sky Omaha. Man, she had a tragedy in her family, and prayers go out to her as well. And very, very sorry to hear about what happened there, but happy to know that you're okay and that everything is going well with business. It would be good to catch up to talk to them as well. So anyway, just wanted to say that. I forgot to mention that a little earlier. But thanks for everybody that's joined in on this. Bo is saying love and prayers to all. Appreciate you, bro. Pop says thanks for another great show. See y'all on Friday. Appreciate it. Let's see. Miss Kimber Snipe says, I know U-Turn ain't getting a lot of respect. They're still talking to some of these kids. U-Turn. Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. Brooke says, yeah, awesome show. Appreciate it. Also, Kimber said, Project Safe Space is also in the trenches with a lot of these young people who are shooters as well. Please give us some more information on the people that are boots to the roots on this.
Man,
most definitely. We appreciate you knowing about these organizations and hipping us to them. We'll definitely talk to them. We'd love to have them on, and we'd love to be bigging them up too. So if anybody who's doing good work, we're going to big up whoever that is. So
right,
that's what's up.
Give honors to where honors are due.
Man, got to. Bo says, thanks God and Dove.
Hey.
Also, let's see. Brooke says, bye, everyone. Have a great rest of the week. Great show. Drink water. Be good to yourselves and catch some belly laughs. Miss Erica says, heard that. Tony Johnson is saying, hope nobody was hurt from the shooting at 41st Street last night.
Yeah.
Okay. More shootings there. I hope nobody was hurt as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, we whoever's doing the work, we got to try to give them some support to do that for sure.
Right.
With that said, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Thanks for joining us. I want to give shout out to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to be here, for allowing us to speak before them, and also shout out to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. It's always a great conversation, and we always enjoy everybody's input and really appreciate everybody's input. Thank you very much for that. If you miss any parts of this show, go back and check it out at Facebook and YouTube, and check it out in its entirety. Watch the whole show. Check out the chats so you can see some of the things that's going down. So really, really appreciate everybody that is doing that as well. And tell a friend. We're still trying to spread the word on building more audience, more voices, more people you think would benefit from coming in and having these discussions and everything else as well. So thank you very much for that. Also, shout out to all the people that are reoccurring sponsors of the channel, the $10 people, the $25 people, the $50 people. Thank you very much. Appreciate everybody who is helping us finance this so we can continue on and grow and do more trainings and eventually get to doing even more news and partnering up with organizations that can help us even go beyond that. So thank you again. Yes, I do believe Bacon and his camp listens. I believe a whole lot of people are listening. We got a lot of ghost listeners out there that are checking out what's going on because, this is important. People who care about the community need to hear from the community. And this is one of the only things that's happening right now that's allowing that. So appreciate everybody's participation in this, and we will get together and see you on Friday. In the meantime, between time, please take care of yourselves, and we'll see you then.
Peace.
By the way, Van Glorious, this is protected by the red, the black, and the green. At the crossroad, with the key.
by any means necessary.